name is Katie Davis, and today I will be presenting to you an informative speech on juvenile delinquency. On average, juveniles were involved in 1/4 of all serious violent victimizations committed annually over the last 25 years. Causes of juvenile delinquency. Some of the main causes in juvenile delinquency are home life situations, educational situations, and community differences. Some of the effects of juvenile delinquency are crime rates increasing, crime statistics increasing, and sentencing options for juvenile delinquents. Michael Shader did an experiment on home life situations of juvenile delinquents. He found that out of 45 million Americans, poverty-stricken was 14.5% of them, and the poverty level is considered $23,000 a year for 4 people living in a household. Children who are from broken homes are more likely to become juvenile delinquents, and they are 2 times more likely to lie, fight, and steal during the school hours. Abuse is one leading cause of juvenile delinquency. Last year, there was 3.7 million reports. 80% of those were of neglect, most of which were from health, school, and home needs. 17.6 of the 3.7 million reports were of physical abuse. Michael Shader also did an experiment on education in juvenile delinquents. He showed that juvenile delinquents have poor attitudes in schools and towards school structured settings. He also showed that in a single-parent home, students were only 9% likely to make an A in the class, whereas 28% of kids in married homes made A's in their report cards. Parents who dropped out of high school are likely to live in poverty, therefore making their children possible to have juvenile delinquency. 1 in 100 college graduates will be incarcerated in their lifetime. 1 in 35 high school graduates will be incarcerated in their lifetime, and 1 in 10 high school dropouts will be incarcerated in their lifetime. Another leading factor that causes juvenile delinquency is mental disorders. 35% of students who had juvenile delinquency had mood disorders, 18% had attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and 10% had some sort of conduct disorder. Mood disorders include things like anxiety and depression, and conduct disorders include things like disruptive conduct behavior. Michael Shader also conducted a study on the communities that juvenile delinquents come from. He showed that the poverty-stricken areas had more juvenile delinquents than any other area because of the neighborhood crime levels. Gangs are more prevalent in large cities rather than rural communities because they have the most juvenile delinquents and they are the most poverty-stricken. Gangs like to recruit young and gullible youth because they are more prevalent and that they are going to be juvenile delinquents. Crime rates were the highest in 1996 for juvenile delinquents, but they have been on a consistent downfall since then, having fallen 11% so far. In 2012, 3,941 arrests per 100,000 youth. That equals about 2,758,700 total arrests for children under 18 in 2012. Statistics show that 30% of all violent crimes are committed by youth, and violent crimes are burglary, grand theft, sexual assault, murder, drug cartels, and other offenses that can be used with a weapon. Nonviolent crimes accounted for 60%. These are things like property crime, fraud, internet crime, DUIs, gambling, and bribery. The last 10% of the 100% are curfew and running away from home. Kathleen Michon did a study on sentencing. She showed that house arrest is the most common for more serious crimes that juvenile delinquents have. This allows them to still go to school and go to home every night. The next common is juvenile detention center, where they have long-term stays for 24-hour periods, where that takes them out of the school setting and out of their home setting. Juvenile delinquents can be sentenced as adults as young as the age of 13. 22 people since 1976 have been put to death on death row that were the age of 16 or 18. 100,000 kids were held in adult jails or prisons each year. 75% of these kids were awaiting their trials. Today I have talked about some of the causes of juvenile delinquency, which would be home, educational situations, and community standards. Some of juvenile delinquency were crime rate, statistics increasing, and sentencing options for these juveniles. I would like to leave you with one more statistic and a question today. In 2008, an estimated 60% of children in the United States were exposed to violence, crime, or abuse in their community or schools in the last year. So my question to you is, where does the solution need to start? Thank you for listening to my speech today.